Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Hi,
perfect.
Carolina.
Yay.
Hello, how are you?
How's it
Good. How are
going?
you? Thank you so much for meeting us.
Absolutely.
And
How's the
thanks for
coffee going?
being flexible. Yeah, I'm at I'm at water turning to wine stage right now.
Love it.
Soon.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I was rushing from like the normal chaos, like the side hustle, weekend side hustle, resort work to, rushing to Publix to grab some food for the kids. And then I have kids, so I have three boys, and my middle decided that he was going to make plans to go to a Super Bowl party that he
Of
told me about
course.
at 7 a.m. this morning before I was walking out the door to go to the resort, and didn't have access to my phone. And so it was like, the normal chaotic, you know, rushing
I
home.
I admire parents so much. It's the hardest job in the world. It's crazy.
You have no kids? No kids?
No kids. No, I'm an auntie. I love my niece and
That's
nephew,
awesome.
but that's gonna stay that way.
That's good.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
I had that. I
We
mean,
we can tell. I mean, she looks like she slept a
yeah.
peaceful night.
Sitting outside.
She's
You're sitting
outside.
outside, you're enjoying yourself. No, I
Yeah,
love parenthood, but I don't know if I would choose it again. I know it sounds really controversial, but like it's a tough job and
yeah,
they don't really prepare you with the books that you get from the library or buy from Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
they don't.
No.
They don't.
No, they
Gosh.
don't, not at all. But life is like that sometimes, like you just never know. So Caroline, I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm happy that Gabby connected us with you, and like we always love meeting other actors and other creatives, and we like to like highlight in with our like Meet Your Actor series because I always feel like it's really relatable when you hear someone else's story because somewhere in there someone's like, oh yeah, I want to do that, or oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've done that, or oh
yeah,
shoot, I've been there. In I'm happy that I'm not alone. So.
yeah.
Tell us like how you got started on your creative journey and
Oh Lord.
where are
Um,
you at? Or are you in California?
yes, I'm currently in LA. This is my home. It's such a beautiful day. I just wanted to sit outside.
It
So,
is.
It
yeah,
is. It's so
um,
sunny.
it is. And I know that like on the East Coast, it's freezing and there's snow and a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very aware of all that. Um, I grew up in Colombia in South America, and I blame my hyperactivity for me finding acting. My mom owned a nursery school, so she was like very attuned with like, you know, two to 4 year olds or 1 to 3 year olds and like what they loved, and she could tell that I was very active and like loved interacting with people. And so when I was 4, they were auditioning for a play in school, and my school went from kindergarten all the way up to senior year.
Oh
So it
wow.
was like we would get to act with like the seniors or the people kids in middle school. And so I my first play was when I was 4.5, and I loved it. And since then, and it wasn't professional, this was at school, so it was
Yeah.
just fun. But since then, I kind of felt like I just loved acting.
Yeah.
So, when it came time to apply to college, I was like, I think the only thing I'm really good at is acting, so maybe I'll go study theater. And I'm glad that my parents supported that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I got to study theater in Boston, which was great. And then, I found my way to voice work later just because it's so hard to make a living that you start going, oh, okay, so I can audition for this and that and commercials, oh, and voiceover. And so you kind of start like
Yeah.
figuring out how you're going to make it happen. But it wasn't something I thought I could do. Like voice work wasn't a thing that I really dreamt about, I guess. You don't really know that's a career.
Yeah. That's interesting that you
It's
say that because
amazing.
we found voiceover and then we found on camera. And then, yeah, so, but we have met several people that have come from theater and on camera and acting and then transitioned into voiceover because you start to, when you have an agent or
Yeah.
you're on those pay to play sites, if you don't have an agent, you see voiceover opportunities that are presented to you. You know, not specific because like once you get into voiceover then you understand like, oh, I got to get on a specific voiceover pay to play, and
Yeah.
you're looking for like specific agents that only like cater to voiceover, so there's like a whole separate section, but there is like a big crossover there that I don't think people realize. I mean, they are now, but
Yeah.
Well,
Was it
yeah.
difficult? Like, sorry, finding like doing that transition going
yeah.
for you because I know for voice actors it is a little tricky going from being stuck inside of the booth to
Yeah.
going on screen, right? So was it difficult for you to do that switch?
I don't, I want to say no because I studied theater, so
Yeah.
and in theater they train you right with the voice, movement, breathing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a whole instrument that you're working, you know. And so I was auditioning mostly film, TV, and theater to start off, and then I took a voiceover class, and I'm like, oh, this is just acting without your face, you know,
Yeah.
like you just don't
Yeah.
see the face. But I use everything in the booth, you know, like if I have to run, I'll kind of do this, and so I feel like I do use my whole body to voice act. So I'm glad that that didn't feel super different. And one of my first gigs for video games was doing motion capture for
Yeah.
Max Payne 3 and then GTA 5. And for me, that was just like doing theater in this really big sort of stage where we're wearing the funny mocap suits with the little shiny balls
Yeah.
and it's like theater acting for the body, but then you have a camera right on your face, and so then that's kind of film acting. So it just felt like I was kind of merging both. I will say I have perfected or not perfected, worked on what we can do in the booth versus, you know, what we can do with just a simple raise of the eyebrow or whatever. So, you know, we've gotten a little bit more specific in the booth just because breath can say so much, or the pre-life to a sentence, you know, is, I got scared, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like we learn those as we go, but I felt like it was a fun transition. I still do all of it, but I mostly do voice work. So
Yeah. It's interesting because like I actually started taking acting classes to enhance my voiceover career. So like I was originally on air with radio, so I was a radio personality. So that
yeah,
transition from radio to voiceover and like actually specifically being a voice actor is so different than the voice work that I did on radio.
yeah,
And then being like doing voiceover, I ended up taking acting classes for a friend of mine who wanted to, go back into acting and on camera. And it was like, oh, wow, like this is cool because it really does, like it does really help enhance your voiceover. Um, you
oh
know,
gosh, so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, so much. So like
Yeah,
what you said, we like using your whole body and then but there's still like you said the understanding of the breath and like the fact that like you can't see you, right? Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't just raise the eyebrow and like you have to
yeah,
actually somehow create raising the eyebrow with like your vocal tone or whatever. So
right. Have you enjoyed, I mean, speaking on radio is so different, but have you enjoyed kind of finding emotion and to fill the characters with whatever's going on in the acting you're
yeah.
doing?
You mean with like commercial and like doing voiceover commercials work and I also do on-camera stuff, but yes, that's absolutely because like with radio you're kind of like you're like this linear. It's like this linear like
Yeah,
I mean it's like kind of like this is the one character that you are and and people get used to who you are and like and really the difference comes out of like the information that you're sharing. So
yeah,
yes, absolutely trying to find that's why I took acting classes. Yeah, so that
yeah,
I could like tap into like that emotion. So mocap, wow, like hi, that was cool.
Yeah.
Like I
yeah.
always wonder, I have anxiety, so I always think to myself, like, I'm gonna get strapped in one of those mocap suits, and then I'm like, I have to pee. Like that's what I think. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom, like
Yeah.
like is that a problem? I mean, not to be weird.
Well, you know, I haven't done mocap in a couple of years. The last one I worked on was Gears Tactics, a video game, and we were kind of like
Shoot 'em up.
walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah.
have big machine guns, and we were trained by an Afghanistan vet, and like on how to like,
Whoa.
handle our equipment. But the one thing that bothered me was it's kind of like you're wearing a wetsuit.
Oh.
Except it's not as tight and uncomfortable. Like it feels like spandex.
Yeah.
And then they stick the little balls, but the thing about men is they can go to the bathroom and zip up the pants and not have to get re-rommed.
Okay.
And the women, because we pull the pants down and pull them back up, we've moved the positioning of the little balls, so we
Yeah.
have to go back and get recalibrated. And every time we have to do what I call the mocap dance. And so basically, you're like showing your range of motion with
Yeah.
your arms, your legs, your contorting
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good stretch, so I guess it was fine, but we had to do it every time we went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I wish they would like figure out a suit with like a zipper on the bottom so the ladies can just go boop, boop, and then you're good. So yeah, sometimes I would like not drink as much water because I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom every hour. So,
Right. I know. Yeah.
but it doesn't feel constraining though. Like they're very
Okay.
comfortable actually. And we're moving so much, it feels like we're just in spandex and yeah.
Yeah,
Luckily,
but
it's comfortable.
Yeah, but having that camera on your face, so that's like, but I mean, people don't understand that when you're an on-camera actor, a lot of times like those scenes, like you have a camera like right over your shoulder, or you might
Yeah.
have a camera like right
Yeah.
up in your face. You know what I'm saying? So that probably was an easier transition. You probably, no?
It's a little bit weird because what they do is they put on a helmet that's pretty tight, and then from the front of the helmet, these two little bars are coming out, and then the
Okay.
camera's at the end.
Oh, okay.
So like I had to be kissing a guy, and then we'd be like, okay, let me come in, and it's pretend kissing. We're not even touching because it's
Yeah.
all like they're gonna animate it on top of us. But like it definitely was like after a while you're like, oh my god, this thing here is like anywhere you look, it's right there, you know. So it's a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
You sort of get used to it because on camera it's not coming out of your head, you know,
Yeah.
like for film and TV, and so. But you do have to sort of pretend like the whole crew is not there and you're just in the space for TV. So I guess it's got some similarities, but it's definitely a weird thing. And every time I took the helmet off, I was like, oh, it's so nice not to have that weight, and not
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's got to be awkward though, because I mean, to get into character when you're like in it, like you said, it's comfortable, like it moves with you. But like I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, because like then you have to be in like a mind headspace, like body mind,
Wow.
you have to develop the character in your head and think about like this pretend place that you are and like these
Yeah.
actions that you're doing and you're like suited up with like weird balls all over your body.
Yeah,
It's like
it's kind of like doing green screen where like you just have to imagine everything. Like we're in this set that doesn't even have green screen. It's just tons of cameras hanging from the ceiling, like I mean hundreds that you can't see, they're tiny, but also like everything that's built for the set is made out of PVC pipes. So
interesting.
you're basically like everyone's in a wetsuit and you're acting with like weird tables and a car made of PVC pipes. Like everything, it's all pretend. It's all
Yeah.
pretend. And so you really have to like use your imagination to create. Okay, I'm in a dungeon. Oh, now we're on the street in Miami. Now I got abducted by whatever. Like so, or for Red Dead Redemption 2, it's like we're in the desert and we're trying to cross this weird landscape thing. And so it really is an exercise in imagining stuff. It's fun though, and then you see it animated, and you're like, holy cow, we did that, and none of that was created. So I mean, yeah, I guess actors we just have to have a vivid imagination,
Yeah,
to play.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So
Gabby, you have a
you've
question?
been in video games and television series. What do you like like between like kids series because you've been on like The Loud House and others and video games. What do you enjoy more?
Oh God, it's like choosing your favorite child. You
I
can't.
know.
It's
Eeny,
so
meeny,
hard.
Or maybe
miny,
you can,
mo.
but you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
No, I just like for animation, I just love that. Like once I played a queen ant, so I'm like this, like an ant, and she has a crown, and she's like, and I decided she's going to have this voice like this, inspired by a drag queen. That was like just an aside in my head, but like that's
love
what I
that.
wanted. We can voice a piece of cheese, or I can play a grandma, or I can play a little 6-year-old boy. Like that, I love that it. The world is our oyster, and we can do all sorts of crazy sounds, or we can play a cat. So I love that. But I think what I love about film and TV is you get to work opposite one person or many, and you really do. You're in animation, we don't always get to act opposite whoever we're
Yeah.
talking to.
Yeah.
So we have to imagine what they're saying and just record different lines so that they can kind of make it work in the editing room. And I love film and TV because it really sort of becomes a family, and the crew and the cast is just like day in and day out, long days, and it's just a really good time. So I'm glad that I can audition for both and that I don't have to choose one. But I love the collaborative aspect of being on a set, It feels really cool.
Yeah, I like that too. That is like because when you're stuck in your booth, you know what I'm saying? You're like by yourself.
Yeah.
And when you're on set, it's like there's an energy, there's a vibe, like that kind of elevates everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a crafty table.
And then that too. But then you also discover moments in a scene that like you wouldn't have, because all of a sudden this other
yourself,
actor
yeah.
gives you something different, and you're like, whoa. And so then the scene kind of goes in a different way. Whereas animation, we have the lines, and we'll do them in different ways just so that they have coverage. And then they might choose like if I'm screaming the thing, or if I'm laughing through it, or if I'm annoyed, and then which is fun. But I also like when for Victor and Valentino, which was an animation we did on on Cartoon Network. We used to do cast records, and those were awesome because you got to see people doing their funny voices, and we would act opposite each other, so that felt cool. But I think post-pandemic, like that doesn't really happen too much.
Yeah.
What's a
So
cast record? Is that you just there like
that,
you're yeah.
that everyone's together while we're recording the
Oh,
episode. And
okay.
so, we just go in chronological order. And then, first scene is like grandma and the two kids and they're talking. And then they go into the special world. And then they
Oh,
bump
that
into the
sounds like
cat
so
and the
much fun.
beaver. And so we kind of all experience everything for 4 hours. And it's really
Ah,
fun. It's just
Yeah.
very alive,
Yeah.
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 I guess you could compare that to like a table read, like when
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
together, but like you're actually doing it and like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Gabby, I feel like I stepped on you. Were you gonna ask a
No,
question?
but actually, yes, yes. So, okay, so you grew up in Colombia, then you moved over to Boston. So, how was that transition for you? Like, m you grew up in Colombia,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Uh,
having to go all the way to Boston where it's like freezing cold.
yeah.
Gabby's in
Well,
Medea, right? Or you're the
At
Yucatan.
Mérida, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
Medida.
cool. Okay. Well, I've heard it's so beautiful. I'm dying to go to Merida. Um,
It is.
yeah, yeah. I gotta make a trip.
Call me when you're here.
So I have an American grandma from Wisconsin
Oh,
who married my Colombian grandfather, and so the family she raised, my mom and siblings, were kind of half Colombian, half American, growing up in Colombia. And then on my dad's side, we're half Spanish, half Colombian. So my family was sort of very influenced by different things. But I grew up speaking English and Spanish and with my gringa grandma. And we would travel to the US sometimes in the summers to visit my aunts. And so I kind of I had this bilingual, bicultural upbringing. So it didn't feel as different. Like I wasn't like struggling with English or anything like that. But oh my God, winter hit me hard, and I
yeah.
definitely got depressed just because it's it's a
Yeah.
whole new thing. You're trekking to class in the snow, so it definitely was. Freshman first semester was really hard, and I definitely got depressed. And then I started getting more involved in theater, and I joined the chorus and stuff like that. So you kind of like you find your people. But
Yeah.
I think the winter and then it was so much studying. Like BC, like that first year, I was like I can't physically read all of what they're making us do. Like it felt like too much.
Yeah.
But then you get your people, and then I did theater every semester after that, and I had my group of people, so it was good. But definitely, I think moving countries to do college in the U.S. also with winters like that was a lot to
Yeah,
handle.
process.
Yeah,
College
I
is a
bet.
lot anyways. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's like a huge transition. And you're transitioning. I swear there's not a ghost behind me. There's a dog, but I'm gonna have
Awesome.
she has to exit. I have to get her out because she snores too loud. So I'll be right
Oh,
back. Hold
funny.
on a second.
Yeah.
So I also have another question.
Yeah.
And any point of that, because like you said, you do find your people, and you once you create this group, it's amazing because anytime you feel lonely or like you can't do it anymore, or anytime you need tips or just to share your wins,
Hmm.
it's nice to have this group. Was there ever a time where you needed to or you ever felt like you wanted to give up?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of moments, not in college, because I knew it was like an educational experience, but when I didn't get cast in a bunch of the shows at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh my God, am I even good at this?
Yeah.
But I think in New York, I moved from Boston to New York, and I was there for 10 years, and there were definitely moments where I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm waiting tables.
Yeah.
I'm auditioning for a bunch of things, booking very little, and getting paid very little for acting. So I'm paying my bills with the restaurant gigs. So I think there were ebbs and flows where you're just like, I never considered quitting because I knew that it was a matter of when, not if.
Okay.
And so I just knew, okay, so this is going to take time. It's not if it will happen, it's just when. It might be in 5 years, it might be in 10. And so, but every once in a while, I'd book something that would make me really happy. And I would do
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. Like,
Yeah.
you're reminded.
Yeah.
And I definitely had a good community in New York as well of friends that were actors or directors or people not in the industry at all where I could lean on and talk through it. And I had a great director friend, Manolo Celi, he's Venezuelan, and oh my God, he cast me in my first short, and it was a beautiful little short about all these different Latinos living in New York. It's so great. And at one point I was like, I feel like I'm a shit actor. Like, I'm not booking anything. And he had me do this exercise of like writing like why I loved acting, and if I could write like a mini bio of my life connected to acting since I first discovered it. Like, and I did. It was like a long journal exercise, and before I knew it, I was like, oh, I've done so much more than I've given myself credit for. You know, we're so hard on
Yeah.
ourselves. And I'm like, this year I did book these things, and I worked on this, and I did this theater thing, and you kind of forget because maybe it didn't pay well or whatever. But I was like,
Yeah.
no, it is happening, and this is at my core who I am. And so I always think of that time like, remind yourself why you're doing something and not be so hard on yourself, because God, we are. And then sometimes we just have to let go of expectation and outcome a little bit, and just go, hey, I do this because I love it, and I'm going to keep discovering, and we just got to find that flow state and not just be like when you hold on to something too tight, it can't breathe, you know, right?
Yeah.
So we got to just like let it be, and then all of a sudden, like, wow, we discover some stuff, you know. So, but I think those phases come every couple years. It's not like, oh, I'm done with that. Like right now, I'm like a little bit like, okay, how do I just release the idea of expectation and
Yeah.
an outcome, you know, and just let it be.
I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm like writing that down. I'm like writing as
Yeah.
fast as possible. Release, release the idea.
Just let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let it
Let
go.
it flow.
It's hard though to do that because I think everybody goes into things certain.
course.
You have a certain expectation. We have an accountability group like Gabby had mentioned, and we had a friend of
Cool.
ours who said like, like I had an expectation. Like I stepped in, I left a full-time job. I stepped into this part of my path, and these things were all unfolding for me, and then I had like a life situation, and I won't go into details because it's not my story, but it's like then they kind of hit that wall where
Yeah.
they're like, I might have to get like a day job, right?
Yeah.
Because like, things are not actually unfolding the way that they were unfolding. And I think that we all forget that like I did the same thing when I started. I was like pedal to the metal, balls to the wall, like I threw everything into the pool and I was like, we are doing
Yeah.
this. And I jumped like head first in. And then it's like I had lots of wins and I had things happening, but then it just sometimes it just ebbs and flows and trickles. And then it's like, bam, there's something
Yeah.
cool. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're like, crickets,
Yeah.
and then
For
it's like,
a long time,
a
and then
long
you're like,
time.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just feel like you're spinning your wheels, like, and then you're like, why? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? How am I doing, but then I realized that sometimes you just have to pivot. And
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to take that full-time job, or sometimes you have to take that resort
Yeah.
job, or
Yeah.
sometimes you have to go
And
back
that's
to waiting.
okay. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that we're not great actors, you know?
No, we're still
Yeah.
doing it. It's just
We
not
are.
moving, it's sometimes like you have to pivot or you have to move in a different
Yeah.
direction, or we're just pivoting, but whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like I think we are too hard on ourselves, like you said. So, and sometimes like you said, if you like push too hard and you don't let it release and let it
Yeah.
like discover, you know, and
Yeah.
there's a weird balance though, because you can't not do nothing. You have to do something, like you have to like
But I think even doing that something, whether it's taking us to the next step or not, we are putting some wheels in motion. And so
yeah,
we might not see the direct outcome, but like we are doing the thing. You know, the
yeah.
10,000 hours of to becoming a master at something. Like I used to think that those 10,000 hours people talked about had to be on set, you know? So I'd be like,
Oh,
well, I'm not going to audition for that because, America Ferrera is already going to do it. So I'm going to be
yeah,
wasting my time. And it's like, no, me putting in 2 hours to work on this audition is 2 hours towards my craft. Like,
yeah,
I also have to look at it like this is just making me a better actor, even if I'm not going to book the job, you know?
Yeah.
We discount it because it's not like a gig
yeah.
that we booked. It's like, no, all the hours I've studied, all the time I've put into auditions, like that's all like making me a better person, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it also goes with voiceover too, because it's like the audition is actually the job, and
Yeah.
doing, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's the booking is like kind
Yeah.
of like the icing or the frosting on the
Yeah.
cake,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because like,
Yeah.
and I think people don't, the more you audition, the more opportunities you can create
Yeah.
potential like bookings for yourself. And I think, people get discouraged sometimes, because it's
Yeah.
like it's a lot of work, but again, like my husband's in sales and he's in management. He always says like you got to look at that like 1 to 20 ratio. You got to do
Yep.
20 things to get one thing.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you could take that across the board in life everywhere,
Yeah.
You can't go to the gym once and think you're going to get ripped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Totally.
saying? Like you have to like,
Yeah.
you can't like eat a salad and think you're going to be like thin or like, super
Yeah.
healthy. Like you have to do things consistently and it has to be over a period of time and you have to continuously do it. And you, like you said,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyways. I'm
I
off my
recently
soapbox.
I went to a convention and I got to meet a girl who had actually reached out to me via email years prior to get voice acting advice. And she was able to like assist me during the con, so we got to spend a lot of time together. And I said, "So how's your voice acting career going?" She's like, "Oh, well, I had to take a break. I got really sick, and
Oh,
I haven't been able to audition. Like she got like pneumonia or something,
yeah.
and so then her voice, got shot, and so then she like that was like, so now I can't." And I was like, yo, I got my tonsils taken out when I was 35. Like not when I was
Wow.
19, when I was
Wow.
in the middle of my voice acting career because I kept getting strep and they needed to be out.
Yeah.
And the recovery, the pain,
Sucks.
working through it because I wanted to get back to work. I was like, just because you got pneumonia doesn't mean that you're not a voice actor. All voice actors go through a million setbacks, or
Yeah.
you deal with a car accident, or you go take care of a sick parent. And you come back and you just keep working at it. Like I reminded her, like, just because I do these video games doesn't mean that like I get jobs every day. I
Yeah.
audition every day and then I, record once in a blue moon. So it's like I think people also think that once we've had a little bit of success, all of a sudden like jobs just come. And it's
Yeah.
like, nope, we still audition and
Yeah.
we still have to prove ourselves and we just keep going because that's the name of the game, you know?
Yeah. You got one foot in front of the other. Just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you
And
got your tonsils removed. What
that's like
like
terrible, just
that's
so you know. I got it in my
yeah.
20s. That was, and you had it in your
But
30s. I had it in my
also
20s. Terrible. Absolutely
you know you're a voice actor. You've gotten used to your pipes and how to work them, and then all of a sudden you have to recondition them.
terrible. Yeah.
How was that for you?
I mean, I would get strep throat very often. One year I got it 7 times. And so then
Whoa.
and I would take antibiotics and then that screws up your body and
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
finally I went to an amazing ENT here in LA who specializes in opera singers and voice actors.
Hmm.
And she was the one that was like, because all doctors are like, don't take your tonsils out, like you might be fine for 5 years and then you'll go back to getting sick, whatever. And she was like, you can't take antibiotics so much. Like this is,
Yeah.
so she took them out, but she also made sure, like she has a special anesthesiologist that she works with. So it's all like very carefully done. And she had an amazing, like, kind of exercises after I could move everything and start healing to get back to normal. And honestly, like the initial pain from the surgery, like was less than when I would used to get strep because it was really bad. So
Yeah. Yeah.
in the end, like it's not like I had to relearn to work it because she does such a great job that it's just like
Sure.
a little blip in the system and then you keep going. But I was struggling with some stuff after that, and I've found about because like post-nasal drip, it's very complicated because you start
Yes.
sounding different, and so I warm up before I do certain things, and when I go to conventions a lot to meet a lot of the gamers that love Overwatch or Valorant, and we talk really loud, and so I've just started to learn to not project as much so that at the end of that Sunday I'm not like completely talking like this. So we
Yeah.
learn how to
I
work it.
mean, you hear a lot of people like saying like, don't go to like a football game and scream your ass off because you're gonna lose your
Yeah.
voice. So, and like, but I mean, I think after you get your tonsils taken out, it feels like tight for a long time. So, I mean, and it's
Everything feels tight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it feels tight. Yeah, but that's good that you had special exercises and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a question and then it just escaped me. It will come back later. This happens all the
Okay.
time. It might come back. It might come back now in 5 minutes.
Great.
I don't know. But
Great.
I had my tonsils taken out when I was in my 20s and it was horrible. And I was in
Yeah.
radio and like it was just
Yeah.
like I was devastated. But like you recover and then you get back at it and you just keep going and it's like uncomfortable, but you work
Yeah.
through it. And there's been times where like I do customer service or like, it's like reservation specialist stuff like for a resort on the side. And I thought, well, I'm talking all day. And like
Yeah.
at first, like I started getting dry and tight and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna ruin my voice. And I did exactly what you said at conventions. I just kind of like toned it down, just really like, stopped projecting,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
really like brought it in. And that was helpful,
Yeah.
because you don't realize like when you're talking so loud, it's
Yeah.
like your voice will just get wrecked.
I've even seen, I bought it, I used it once or twice, and it works really well, but it's kind of funny. It's just a little microphone, and then the speaker is right at the front of like whoever you're talking
Ooh,
to. And so you're just here talking to them, but they can hear you perfectly. And like,
that's
I feel
cool.
kind of like, hello, how can I help you? You know, like you're
That's
definitely,
cool.
but yeah, it's helpful for those situations. But
I my
it's like an athlete that, you know, gets knee surgery in the middle of like a season because they have
yeah.
to, or else they can't
Yeah.
keep playing, you know?
Yeah, because they're like they blew out their ACL or something. I don't know. That might
Yeah.
take them out for the whole season. But so that you reminded me of my question, like conventions, so like that's like a whole thing, right? Like that's like
Yeah.
how does that go for you? Because it's like, do you go there in character or like how does that work? Do you pick one character? Yeah, like is it like whatever video game you currently worked on? Like how does that work? I've
Um,
never.
At the beginning, it was just because like I had worked on GTA 5 and Rockstar games, so like Red Dead 2 and those, but my characters weren't super big, so I used to just get called for Overwatch for my character Sombra, who's Mexican, and so I would go only as her for her, and I don't
Oh,
go in
okay.
character. I dressed up. I did cosplay a couple
Yeah.
times just for fun and to like, what is this thing? And a professional cosplayer made my outfit and like and she did my makeup, so it was really cool to kind of like experience that, and it was fun for the fans. But now it's just I get invited as me, and I work on Valorant, so some people love that. Some people love another game called Dead Island 2. So it's just kind of like, I'm here. What do you want to, what do you want me to sign an autograph for? So like I have
Right.
prints for like kind of the big ones that I do. And then yeah, I mean I love going to cons.
Do you?
It's really fun to meet people who love the game, and they tell me their stories about how they're connected to the character or how the game helped them through a tough time. And what's cool is most of my characters are South American or connected to some Latin something. A lot of Latinos were like, "Oh, my grandma loves your character. She sits and watches me play Sombra."
Oh,
Or like
funny.
really cute stories about how it's connected them to their roots, or like how they're learning Spanish because Sombra has some Spanish lines. So it's just really special for the community to be like, "Oh wow, we finally get characters that aren't just like the illegal, like effed up character that's doing
Criminals.
something." Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because all of our characters are really interesting and smart and great. So it's pretty special. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. You were a gym teacher once, right? And I forgot which show, but I saw it and I was like, that is so cool.
Like in live action or in animation?
No, animation.
Oh, I think the principal maybe of the Loud
Oh yeah.
House.
Yeah.
I'm like Mrs. Valenzuela, and I'm always
Yeah.
telling the kids like what's going on, and that was fun. Yeah, I think she just kind of like, "Hello, students, what are we doing?" And I don't know, she was funny. She was on a treadmill running while some kids come and ask her a question. It was just such a stereotype of like, "I'm a type A lady, and I'm working out while I'm like at my lunch break or something." I don't know. Yeah,
And
cartoons are insane. Yeah.
yeah. That's so fun. Like I think that's really cool. Like do you like did when you set out for voiceover, like what did you think that video games and anime was going to be like sort of, because we talk about this all the time. Gabby and I talk about it. Like
Yeah.
you kind of set out in your mind like once you get into voiceover, you're like, "Oh, this is a genre that I want to do." Or this is a genre that brought me to voiceover. We've talked to people about. Like yeah, so did you think this
So
is the direction?
as a kid, I loved Robin Williams. And
Yeah.
once I learned that he was the voice of the genie and also the little
Yeah.
bat
Yeah.
in Fern Gully, I was like, oh my God, that sounds like fun. But I never really understood I could do that, you know?
Yeah.
And so then I studied theater and started pursuing film and TV in New York. And at one point I was like, oh, I'd love to do cartoons. And I kept telling my voiceover agents that I wanted that. But in New York, they were like, oh, it's all out in LA. And like, we still hadn't learned to do a remote thing. You
Yeah.
know, this was one thing the pandemic helped us with. So I hadn't really gotten to do that too much. And then I was really lucky that Blizzard auditioned Sombra probably in Mexico, LA, and New York. And so I got that audition and I booked it. And so then I started meeting all these proper voice actors based in LA. And they're like, why aren't you in LA? That's where it happens. And I was like, oh. So I was also dealing with heartbreak at the time. So it kind of made sense to like try the opposite coast.
Yeah.
And so I came out here with 2 suitcases to see if I liked LA and if it made sense. And my agency in New York started getting me auditions here. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, what? Like,
Wow.
we can audition for all of these crazy characters. And so I hadn't really set out for it. Like, it was this far off dream that I didn't know if I could really make happen. And then I auditioned for so many animations that like first month, and video games, that I was like, oh, I gotta be out here. So it's sort of like, I sort of found it. I wanted it, but I didn't know if it was possible. And then I found it and it started happening. And now that's really mostly what I do, is animations and video games. And then a few commercials for radio or TV, just voice acting for them. So I'm learning, like, but that's what I used to audition for in New York in Spanish, like McDonald's radio commercials and, Gillette and Burger King. Like, it was just like Spanish stuff, mostly in a Mexican accent, because that's what they asked for. So that kind of prepped me for Sombra, so I could like show up with something that sounded like I was Mexican,
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So now you're in LA and like you're doing all the things. Like, what's the next well, wait, I have another question before I say that. Okay. So Gabby and I have talked about this before. So when you have like a Hispanic, like you can speak Spanish and you're from, like, sometimes they want you to sound like you are American, and then sometimes they want you to have like that little like flavor to it, right?
Yeah, the
And it
accent.
sounds like you can do that. You can manipulate your vocal tones, and you can dive into the like your culture, and then you can like back it out to more English sounding, right? Like general American. And that's like cool, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
double dipping.
yeah.
yeah, I'm
double
grateful. Yeah. I mean, I do.
I stumbled
Yes.
around about that. I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're
I was
great. You're golden.
We all knew what I was talking about.
Yes,
but-
absolutely. I think that was the tricky part for film and TV in New York, was that I'm a little paler, and I was blonde. Like, as a kid, I was like, I looked like I was Danish, and so when I got to New York to start auditioning, like, they were like, oh, you're too white to play Latina. Oh, you're too ethnic to play Caucasian. And so, like, in the film and TV world, it kind of was very confusing to people. And so I would do an accent, and I would put my hair up, and I had the hoops, and like, or I would do New York, like, maybe I'm from New York, but I grew up in Puerto Rico. And so, like, I was like, and I have a good ear, so I was like picking up like all the different accents because we're artists, and so that's why voiceover has been so amazing to me, because when they need Venezuelan, when they need Mexican, when they need Colombian, like, I could do it in English, right? Like, I could bring the accent in English, or speak in Spanish with those, like a flavor of that. And so one of the characters I played for a Disney show called Hamster and Gretel, she's a Venezuelan mom, based on a true woman she's from Venezuela, and she literally has a really deep voice like this, and she talks like this little sing-song, because that's how they speak in Venezuela. So, like, I kind of just like channeled her, and it worked. So, and it doesn't matter that I don't have darker skin, or, like, I'm just sort of like, or like, if you're from Spain, you have to speak like Penelope Cruz, and so it's very different because the S is more heavy, and you kind of like, so I just sort of, so it's helped that I don't need to look like the animation looks like whatever it is, and I can just bring my acting chops. So for me, it's been a lifesaver to be able to do accents in voiceover, because it does add to the character. And right now I'm working on an animated show that I can't talk about yet because I'm under NDA, but I just talk like I do now, and it's great because the character, it's not about being Hispanic, it's not about being from wherever you are, it's just this is this character and this is how she sounds. And so I'm really grateful that I can also do that, and they don't just need, okay, bring in the Latino-ness, but now I'm happy to bring it, because I'm not just auditioning for the stereotype on TV that is like, oh, she's a prostitute. Oh, she's the cleaning lady that can't pay her bills. Like, that's what it was for Law and Order a lot, which I don't mind, because like the stereotypes are real, and of course these people exist, and I'm happy to play them because they're interesting. But I think that now in animation, like, they want to celebrate that she's from Brazil or she's from Colombia. So, let's bring in the accent so that like people from those places feel, good about this character who's very smart and beautiful and strong. And so I feel like it's more of a highlight rather than like, well, this is the only thing Latinos can do,
Right, yeah. That's amazing. You gave us so much more than I have friend like Gabby, she's like, I sound very American. She's like, it's right. Like, do you want to like touch on that? And
Yeah,
I have
tell
another
me
friend of
more.
mine.
No,
I have another.
I do. I've had auditions where they're like, no, you just sound too American. So can you add a little more accent or like a
flavor,
certain accent and voiceover, because I can also double dip, and that's really cool to be able to do that. At the same time, I feel grateful to be able to do certain things in Spanish because, you're also representing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, there wasn't so many commercials and animation and characters
Yeah.
that were Hispanic. Everything was more
White.
General market.
general market. Yeah.
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 So it's exciting to be in this new phase where you can put a little bit of your creativity out there and a
Yeah.
little bit of
Yeah.
yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're starting to understand also, like, oh, let's market to the Latinos. So, AT&T commercials might be in English, but they're like a little bit of Mexican flavor. And then I say, oh, I really want those tacos with my abuela. And
Yeah.
because there are people that are growing up here that do that and speak both. And so, oh, let's market to them instead of just like make it very stereotypical in Spanish or just keep it for the general market. Like, how do we find this like fusion? Because it
Yeah.
exists,
Yes, the
Yeah.
Spanglish
Spanglish,
commercials.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's been really cool to see that and actually be a part of it while auditioning and then meeting
Yeah.
other actors like yourself who are putting your creativity and your essence out there as well.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is really
Yeah. It's
cool.
fun.
Yeah. Is it when they say ethnically ambiguous? So that's kind of like how they skirt around. Like they when they're looking for someone who like they I don't know. It's like what is that? Like what is ethnically ambiguous? And then it's like I think it's because they want someone from with ethnicity, but they also want you to like look general to the general
Yeah.
population maybe. And
Yeah.
it's like
I think it's
whatever.
like you can pass as many things, and so it's like, oh, we're keeping it vague, and so you could be Egyptian, but maybe also Mexican, and maybe and so you're like,
Yeah.
okay. But even though they wanted that for me, I was like, they kept saying you're too pale even to be that, and so
Yeah.
so I got a little bit tired of like the on-camera world because it's so specific, But I
Sure,
think
sure.
that's where voice work lets us do
Sure.
a bunch of stuff.
Sure. And it's also
Yeah.
pretty exciting too that like women in general are also like sort of injecting ourselves into like the corners and nooks and crannies where maybe it was male dominated. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot and there's a big push for that now. And I've been listening and hearing different people talking about how like maybe once before they would only be requesting men to like be auditioning, but then now they're
Yeah.
asking, yeah, we are looking for a man, but like we are actually open to women too, so that's
Yeah.
also very exciting, so it's kind of an exciting time just in general, across the board. So, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Even like for promos, I think, I don't know if you guys saw the movie In a World that Lake Bell was in. You guys should check it out. It came out, oh my gosh, probably a decade ago. And I think she wrote it and directed. But it's basically this young girl coming into voiceover and wanting to do promos, like, or trailers. And before it was just In a World and it's
Yeah.
the man
Yeah.
with the voice. And then she's kind of like dismantling this. But we do as women now, we get to do trailers and we get to do sports trailers or promos, and that was never the case. And so I do think that for sure ladies are getting the opportunity to do more than before.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's
Yeah.
really cool. Well, Gabby, do you have any more questions? I have a fun question. I'm just watching the time because I we have our roundtable fun question. I
Oh.
forgot to tell you that. And then we always have a final question and we always want to hear like how people can get in touch with you. But
Sure, of course.
well, besides the project that you can't talk about, like do you think that like going to college, is definitely helpful, in terms of like educational training, but do you think that that like sets you apart, or do you think that like someone that's like, yeah, I'm not going to college, but they want to get into the acting world or voice acting world, like there's other avenues? I know that was your choice and like I went to college too, but not everybody can go to be trained. Like I don't think that should hinder anybody though, right? It's just like an added like, right? Like a base, I guess you would say. Or do you think that like it really benefited you like moving forward? It sounds like it benefited you.
I mean, personally, yes, it benefited me. But if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to go to college.
Right.
I think that we do live in a world where like you can do so much without
Yeah.
getting in debt. Nowadays, probably like $500,000 because it's
Right,
insane.
right. Yeah.
I loved college. It was the experience I wanted. I was lucky enough to be able to go. Like, I'm grateful my parents helped. But I think nowadays there are a bunch of, if look, some people are just natural, like Jennifer Lawrence. She just gets thrown onto a set and all of a sudden it's brilliance and like, But I think nowadays you can start auditioning without having taken a class. However, there are so many online classes you could join.
Totally.
So you don't even have to travel, and you can study with amazing voice actors based in LA or in New York, and you can get better before you put a demo together, and you can learn how to make a demo through this teacher, or they do it for you. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
there's so many tools. I always recommend a website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
Oh, okay.
It's like an amazing voice actor here in LA started it because he used to get this question all the time, and he's like, I can't answer that question in 2 minutes. Like, there are a million avenues you can take.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
literally, I scoured the website just to see like what it was about, and he answers every question under the sun. If I already have a demo, what do I do? If I don't have a demo, where do I start? If I've never voice acted, how do I get into it? And he's got all these resources to help you out. So it's really wonderful. And I feel like there's so many YouTube videos of prolific
Totally.
voice actors teaching you stuff, and
Yeah.
our
Free
friend,
resources. Yeah.
yeah. And there's coaching too that you can like, oh, I'm getting good auditions, but I don't know how to make them better. And so there's coaches on this place called Skills Hub.
Yeah, I heard
Our
that.
friend Jennifer Hale started it, and it's voice actors that are working that can coach you, and they have slots, and so you can like book it now or in 2 hours, and they help you get through an audition so you don't feel like you're in a vacuum. And I feel like there's so many resources that help. So yes, you don't have to have gone to college
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I feel like
That's good. That's awesome.
find
I
it.
think, yeah, because I feel like sometimes people that are creative and they want to be creatives, they hold themselves back because they're like, oh no, I need to do this first before I can do
Right.
this. Or,
Yeah.
like, and it's like, no, if you have the opportunity to go to college and you can have like, or you can go and have pay to have professional
Yeah.
training, that's great. But like, don't stop yourself. If you can't do that, like you said, there's so many free
Yeah.
resources out there. There's different coaching out there. There's different places to go get trained and to figure it out.
The one thing I do say is like people always go, "What microphone should I buy?" And I'm like, "Yo, kid, adult, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, don't freak out about, oh my God, I don't have a $500 microphone, or $1,000 microphone. Make sure you like this before you buy the
Yeah.
equipment. I didn't own
Yeah.
a mic till the pandemic. I didn't have a proper booth till recently. I was in a closet. Like,
Yeah.
you have to work on your craft before you worry about all the other stuff. You can
Sure.
audition on your phone
Yeah.
with headphones for something, and I've booked stuff off of that. So like, it's
Really?
not about the microphone. I mean, obviously, in the end, you
In
want
the end, yeah.
good quality, but it's about like, is your character amazing? Is your voice? Are you doing good acting? And you might have an amazing voice, but you don't know how to use it. So like,
Right. You
the
need training.
the operative word is acting and voice acting. Like, you should
Yeah.
be a good actor before you just pay attention to like, I have a sexy voice. What can I do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true because people, yeah, that's very true. There's
Do,
always
do you
the
get that a lot?
unicorn. Yeah.
The I have a great voice.
Well, they just a lot of people come up to me and say, oh, when I played games online, people tell me I have a great voice, so I want to get into voice acting. And then they'll be like, I'm really good at like this impression. And so they'll give me the impression of a character, like Mickey Mouse or whatever. And like, yes, they are amazing. And I go, that's great. But until the current Mickey Mouse dies, like,
Yeah.
they're not going to audition Mickey. And unless you're just going to do a ton of awesome videos on TikTok, like impersonating Mickey, which is totally an avenue, like, find out what other voices you can do, because that's the point. It's like, how can we be versatile, or do you want all your characters to sound like Mickey? So it's like, what,
Yeah.
or just guys who have like a delicious voice, and it's like, unless you learn how to read copy really well,
Yeah. It's flat.
you
It
can have a
doesn't do
delicious voice.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not lifting the words off the page. I just remember thinking like when I started taking acting classes and I was like, oh, well, I might be too old to do on camera, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is too late in life, or like, and because of the pandemic, I could take acting classes from my bedroom, right? So I didn't have to go to a studio because I'm too far away from anything. And so it's like, and then I was like, okay, I really like this. And then I was like, well, I don't have money to pay. I can't like, can I make my own demo? And like, so like I wrote my own copy, and finally my coach is like, listen, everybody needs an aunt, a sister, a mom, like they need to like create a couple, like
Yeah.
you definitely, there's a space for you, being an
Yeah.
older woman. And I say older, but like, it's the
Yeah,
on
of
camera
course.
stuff.
I get it. Yeah.
But like I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make my own demo, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
get out there on Actors Access, and I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
like auditioning, and I'm gonna keep training, and I'm gonna keep taking acting classes, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. Now, are there people out there that are plenty better than me? Absolutely. But the thing is they might be holding themselves back because they're like, no, I need to do this first, or I need to do that
Yeah.
first, or like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, fuck it, I'm just doing it, like
That's
it's
a
part of my
great
punch.
attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, and it's like, and I'll just figure it out as I go and
Yeah.
keep learning and growing and training and connecting, and and that's kind of what I was talking about, because like I think education and training is very important, but like at the same time, like you can't let it hold you back either. It's
Yeah.
got to be a tool to help propel you forward, and sometimes you just have to, like you said, you don't need the fancy microphone to be a voice actor. Like you just have to start training, and you just have to start figuring it out, and you just have to start
Yeah.
finding those resources, whatever is it, whatever your bank account allows, for
Right.
you
Right. Yeah.
to,
For sure.
to train. But anyways, so Gabby, did you have another? I feel like you had a question. I keep like,
Well, just one more question.
yeah,
So I remember during the pandemic, I think you were working on an indie film, correct?
Yeah.
Or around that time.
Yeah.
Um, that was very exciting to see because you posted like the process of
Yeah.
making
Oh my
that.
God. Yeah.
What
I
was
didn't
that?
write it, but I did a Kickstarter to produce it, and so we got $40,000 to make it. And it's a feature, so it was, it was a labor of love, and we shot it all in my apartment. And I played
wow,
the main character, who's a cosplayer and a gamer. And it was mainly like stories I hear like from gamers at cons, so it was very much for them, or that kind of story. Oh my God, I learned so much. It's so hard to produce a film and to get distribution and all of that. So it's on Amazon Prime, and it's one of the hardest things I've done. But it felt good to like get it done, and it was exciting, but like, oh my gosh, so stressful.
it's a
Whew.
lot. What's it called? Can you
Yeah.
say?
It's called Morgan's Mask.
Morgan's Mask.
I have helicopters, so I'm gonna like
No worries.
like
You're
mute
fine.
while you talk, because I feel like they're so loud.
No, you're fine. It's
Yeah.
chaos. Like my dog came in and we all thought it was a ghost, and it was really my dog that snores too loud. So it happens. Trust me. I actually earlier heard some ruckus outside and thought, oh no, oh no. It's like life is chaos, right? So, okay, so I want to do something fun before we round things off. And I forgot it was Super Bowl. I hope, no, did you guys, does that matter
Yeah,
to you guys? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's a Bad Bunny concert that I'm gonna watch, so I'll
Yes.
watch it at 5.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm in it for the commercials though too.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
I like to watch the
Yeah.
commercials, and yeah. But we always do something fun, and it's like a round table thing. And then Gabby has a final question she's gonna ask you, and then we're gonna so okay, so let's do the fun question. So all right, you get to pick the number. Now, let me scroll down. So it's 1 through, I don't even know. Like we'll say like I think 100. So you just pick any number, and then that's the question. We're gonna do a round table, and it's kind of like an improv kind of thing. It's kind of a quick thing. So what number? Just right off the top of your head.
72.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm like right there. Like, okay, that's funny. Okay. What is your most unpopular food opinion? Like, what probably do you like the least? Maybe that would be.
When I say that I don't like ramen, people are like, "What the fuck?"
What?
Now, I've had ramen, like one time I was really hungover, and one time it was so freezing cold that it like was amazing. But for the most part, I won't pick ramen. I'll pick a million other things before it, and people are like, "How could you not?" So that's probably it.
That's it. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God, that's so funny. My kids are totally into ramen right now, and I'm like, fine.
It's a phase.
Gabby,
It's a
it
phase.
is a phase. It's always a phase.
I don't like salmon unless I have wasabi with it.
You don't like salmon?
That's cool. I mean, I get it. Sure, wasabi's great.
But like it has to be like a nice chunk of wasabi. Like I have to
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah. I love that you're offended, Jocelyn. You're like, "What?"
What? You don't like salmon? Like
I
that's
like
like the
it,
one.
but I have to have it with wasabi.
Like, are you talking like sashimi style salmon, like where it's
No,
like
no,
raw
no,
or like cooked?
Like proper cooked.
proper cooked.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Wasabi is like that. That's like the clearing of your sinuses. That sounds like you have like more than that. That's like a whole body
Well,
buzz right
I
there.
can't have sushi without wasabi. Like, sushi
Right.
is the vehicle
Finally,
for my
yes,
wasabi. Like,
yes,
absolutely, yeah.
yes.
But I mean, cooked salmon, but sure, I get it, sure, yeah.
That's so funny. Speaking of sushi, like I am the one who over orders ginger. Like I have to have like triple the
So good.
ginger that
It
they
is good.
like. That yeah. I'm like yeah. Anyways, I can't think of something. Well, I don't. Food is a problem for me. Like there's nothing that I really like. So like I guess I don't know. I don't. I don't know if there's anything I love. Like I'm a vegetarian. I'm a pescatarian. So that's why I was like, oh, salmon. That's like pretty much the only thing that I eat. Oh, I know what I don't like. I don't like hamburger. Like ew. Like and I don't like turkey or chicken. Ugh. Like I hate
Really?
turkey chicken. Like yuck.
You're a
Like
vegetarian.
Oh well,
And
yes, but like,
Yeah.
but even I cook chicken for my kids, and like it's chicken is weird now. It's
I get
not the
it.
way it was before.
Yeah,
It's different.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like hamburger too.
I love a good burger though. I don't eat them
Really?
often, but a good burger, oof.
Oh yeah, a good one is.
Yeah.
It smells good.
Yeah, on the grill. Oh my God, for sure.
It might be a traumatic childhood memory, possibly
Maybe.
connected to the hamburger,
Yeah.
but like the chicken is just like chicken's weird now. I'm to cook it for my kids. I don't eat it, but like yeah, maybe it's chicken. Yeah, that's it. That's my answer. That's my final answer. Chicken. I had a lot of answers there, but it's chicken is my
That's
final
funny.
answer.
Chicken.
So, all right. So Gabby, do you want to ask the
Yeah.
final question?
Out of everything you've done, what's the one thing you're the most proud of?
I mean, Morgan's Mask was a big feat, but when I had my crisis of like, I'm too white to play Latina and too ethnic to play white, I started doing a web series that, again, starving artist, like in the sense that like I was a waitress and I didn't have money to like produce a proper project. So with borrowed wigs, my iPhone and iMovie on my Mac, I made a whole web series where I play all the characters, and I'm telling kind of stories that have happened to me in casting offices and like the stupid stuff people said to me or whatever. And so I created all these characters. Like I got my manager who's like, I got you an audition, honey. And then there's a New York weekend who like talks like this, you know, whatever. And then like I got a Puerto Rican guy who's got like gold teeth and like a backwards cap. And so it's like my mini SNL, if you will. And episodes are like 3 minutes, but it's like I did it all by myself. I shot it, I edited it, I did everything.
Wow.
And this was a while ago, but I feel very proud that like that was sort of this vehicle for me to like express my artistic self. But through it, I learned, oh my God, I can edit. Oh my God, I have good comedic timing. Oh wow, I'm good at sketch comedy. Oh, look at all my characters. Like I kind of learned all these things through it. And so it was just like a great process, more of a learning experience than the final product. Because it's homemade, and I was very obvious about it. Like I'm not going to pretend this is like a really amazing production, because you could tell it's like jankety wigs, you know. But it was fun because it was just like a way for me to express what I was going through, you know. And I know that some people saw that while they were casting other things, and they were like, oh, like she has talent. Look at all she did. So it served as a calling card of sorts. So yeah, I feel very proud of it.
That's
My
cool.
homemade baby. Yeah.
That's no small feat to like
Yeah.
write and produce and like be the character and
Edit,
you know like
yeah.
act it
Yeah,
and
yeah,
edit
yeah.
it. Yeah, like people don't realize. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. Well, I
That is
really
really cool.
appreciate you coming on tonight and like hanging out
Yes.
with us. And
Thank you so
I know you
much.
were busy,
Thank you
like you
guys.
are living the actor's life. You
Yes.
know, you've got stuff to
Yeah.
do and but I think like a lot of the stuff that you touched on today is just so relatable and you know, and definitely something that anyone could say like, oh yeah, I went through that or oh like,
Yeah.
you know, that's the direction I want to go in. So
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. I
Thank you so
appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thank
much.
you guys. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Yeah. So how
Let me
can anyone
know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, let me know when this is gonna come out, and I'll share it. I'm on all the social medias.
Yeah.
Mostly it's at Ravassa, my last name. Very easy to find. And I'm usually just updating that for work, so you'll see like new roles that come out and stuff like that, or podcasts. So that's what I share on there.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
So they can find you. Do you have a website? Do you want to share or
CarolinaRavassa.com. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I
Thank you
really
so
Thank you
appreciate your
guys.
time
Have a
tonight.
great
Yeah.
night. Enjoy the
Yes,
Bad
and-
Bunny concert.
Yeah,
I
you
know,
too.
right? You too. All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna